Hey, yeah, what's up? This disciple Marshall Occurrence reign back up in this anti-Illuminati all day, anti-America all day. So this message is basically going to be about the proper punishments going into the future. If there would be an America or a nation here after America, or if there is no America, let's just apply this also to the world in general. Because time in prison is time in prison, no matter where you at. That's a 7 hour. 20 years in prison is 20 years in prison wherever you're at. That's a 7 hour. we, your country is in the shape that it's in because you don't have proper severe punishments. Your punishments are not severe enough to change the state of the crime. You're not going to change it by being nice to criminals, being nice to delinquents, being nice to ratchet people, being nice to mass shooters, being nice to psychotic people pushing people on train tracks in New York City. You are not going to be able to change the state of their mindset unless you issue out more severe punishments. It's the only thing that changes the world or the country. More severe punishments. This is I'm gonna tell you the reason why you've been holding it back. I'm gonna tell you the reason why you've been holding it back. You've been holding it back foundationally so that it doesn't seem like you're profiling a certain group of people, whether it be Black, Hispanic, Latino, whatever the case may be, because of severe laws or punishments for certain things, like over punishment for marijuana and other things, just over punishments. It has caused a cultural perspective of let's take these sentences down to the minimum. Let's bring it down. See, this has been the mentality among many people, among the culture of your country. Oh, well, let's bring these crimes, the punishment down. Let's bring the sentences down. I'm saying jack it up. I'm saying jack it up because the only way that it's going to change, is that there's more severe punishments. It's not going to change if you're just issuing out 4 and 5 years for murder. For murder. Some people are up for parole within what? I would say about 4 to 8 years after taking somebody's life that is not coming back. Right? Most of the time, senseless crimes. And they get out in 5 to 8 years, 4 to 5 to 8 years. If you don't bring about severe punishments for crimes, it will not affect the psychological part of criminals. A criminal will be affected psychologically concerning attempting to do a crime if he or she knows they're going to get 20 years or better. This is the new standard. This is the only way your country is going to change. This is the only way the world is going to change, is that you start issuing out 20 years plus, no questions asked, no chance of parole for senseless crimes. Now, let me explain the specifics. 20 years for drive-by shootings that kill children. 20 years plus. 20 years plus. $20 years plus. 20 years plus for gang stalking. We don't need animals in our community. Those are roaches and animals. 20 years, they're not functioning according to the real world where people live life and have family and get jobs. They become rogue animals. And so rogue animals get thrown into jail for 20 years. Any rogue animalistic type of person gets 20 years for craziness. It's bottom line. It's the bottom line. And I think they need to open up these huge mental hospitals they used to have back in the day. You remember those huge mental hospitals that you see in these movies? They need to open them big ones with two big wings on it. They need to have big mental hospitals and stop sending them to these little hospitals, these mental wards at actual hospitals. They need to build a whole mental hospital and start getting these mental psychological, these sick people off the streets, these psychs off the streets. Because if listen, you can't do crazy stuff and say you're sound-minded. Ask a soldier. Ask a military soldier. That's why some of them have PTSD. Some of them have different sicknesses because they did things that a normal human shouldn't do. So when they try to go back into normal, they wind up killing themselves. That's the same thing that's going to happen to most of these gang stalkers. They're going to try to go back to normal and they're going to have PTSD and they're going to have all kind of issues. It's part of their curse. You can't do evil and you can't do crazy stuff thinking you're being cool and rad or whatever you think you are in the suburbs, because it's a suburban mentality. Well, I mean, gang stalking didn't start in the hood, did it? It's suburban people. It ain't rich people. It ain't rich white people, is it? Well, some of them, it probably is, because, they have all these weird slave master torture tactics that they like to incorporate into your society. So it's part of them and it's part of the suburban people. Okay? That's the sick people. That's a lot of the sick people. One thing about black people, you can pretty much figure out what they're doing. I'm just being 100. I don't agree with the shooting the kids. I give you 20 years for that. But at least I know what's going on. With white people, the suburban people, the white Americans, I'm talking about the racist one. I'm not racist. I'm just being specific, like I always tell you. Whether it's the racists or just the sick white suburban people, you can't figure out what their motives are all the time. They're just sick people. That's what it is. They're just sick and they have nothing to do with their lives. So they use life as a video game because most of them become misfits because they're not taught proper work ethic. They're not taught proper life skills, period, in general. So they become losers from improper raising. Everyone wants to talk about improper raisings in the ghetto. Let's talk about the improper raisings in the suburbs. That's a 7 hour. Where they have no life skills out here. Where they have a warped sense of reality from the suburbs. It's one thing to be black and move to the suburbs. It's one thing to have grown up there all your life. And I'm not demonizing it. But most times, more times than not, many times, I would say 35 to 40%, well, maybe 20 to 35% of the present day suburban people have a warped sense of reality. That's about right. That's about right. They have no grip on it. Let's put it like that. They have no grip on reality. They're not down to earth. Okay? See, the difference between me and them, they're space cadets and I'm a super realist. Yeah, I am super into reality. Now, 20 years is the standard. It's the only way you can change the American community. It's the only way you can change this community. See, I'm trying to show you whether this is incorporated into your community or not. I have the solutions. Because I'm not going to give you the liberty of acting like I'm a savage and a delinquent or a savage on a reckless level or a ratchet level. I'm not going to let you have that luxury of doing that. So that's what this video is about. I'm going to show the solutions. The solutions are people that push people on the train tracks in New York City. You're getting 20 years. You're getting 20 years without a chance of parole. That's what we're going to do for you. That's what we're going to do for you. I don't know. I mean, most of y'all here in New York remember the black dude that pushed the Asian woman, the young Asian woman in her 30s on the train tracks in New York. That's the worst case of it. Up to date. That's the worst case of it so far. Because he was homeless. The guy that pushed her on the train tracks, he was homeless. And she was advocating for homeless people. Little did he know, he didn't know this woman. She was advocating for homeless people to be able to sleep in the subways at night because it's warmer in the subways. So she was advocating for that and shelling out thousands of dollars to help homeless cause, right? That's the facts. Little did he know all that about that woman. She was advocating for his well-being, and he took her life. Now, in that case, he gets 20 years with no chance of parole. He's licking out the tongue at the camera. That's what he was doing. After he did it, he licking out his tongue at the camera. Now, that kind of individual is what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. See, because me, I'm at war. You can try to demonize me, but if you play with me, you play with the bull, you're going to get the horns. I'm from North Carolina. I am not from your state and city. You play with the North Carolina person, you better go ask somebody. You better go literally ask somebody. I have the right as an American citizen to stand my ground and go to war with anybody that goes to war with me, including any American citizen. Yeah. Yes. You forgot about that part, the right to defend myself. Yeah. You're so smart, you're stupid. You think anybody listen, you think when people investigate and realize you playing with me, you think they're going to stop my warfare? Especially when I don't have tangible operations. You're in trouble, buddy. But let's get off that. I'm just letting you know where I'm at. That's a 7-hour. 20 years plus for anybody that's doing any gang banging and that kills innocent kids. If kids are killed in drive-by shootings, that person gets 20 years with no chance of parole. 20 years, that's what we giving. Not 10, not 5, not 9, not 12. 20 years, no chance of parole. Now you got to ask, why haven't your country done this yet? Because you have so many advocates that has influenced the law system that everyone is is going upstream instead of downstream. You're thinking going backwards and bringing laws and charges, bringing punishments down to a minimum is equality. That's a 7-hour. You think that is equality, giving minimum law punishments. You think that's equality. It's not. And listen, equality is not the issue here anymore. Well, by now you should realize how much senseless killings have been done so that you take equality to the point that you take equality out of the equation. That's a 7-hour. You shouldn't have equality in your inequality in your equation when we talk about severe punishments for criminals. When you see all this stuff that they're doing, whether it be white people with the mass shootings or black people with the gang banging that's killing kids in houses, shooting through houses and shooting through windows. All of the Americans, whether it be black or white, are guilty. Therefore, you shouldn't have no hang up thinking it's some type of profiling in 2022 going into 2023. You've seen enough senseless killings from both sides, from the white Americans and the black Americans. Any fool with a brain knows it ain't racially profiling at this point. It's not. And how are you going to get it to stop? I'm glad you asked. The only way you're going to get these senseless killings out of your community is that you begin to get You said you will begin to have a new standard of severe punishments for people. You have to update your system according to the times. You haven't done that. You have to give more severe punishments to affect the crime psychological of your country. You have to affect the crime psychological, if you will. And the only way you're going to affect the crime psychological is with more severe punishments. This will clean the ghettos up overnight. If you go, if this is issued out to Atlanta, Chicago, Detroit, Kansas City, St. Louis, Los Angeles, Miami, Charlotte, Milwaukee, Baltimore, Seattle, Portland, all these places, those ghettos will change the crime psychological would change in those ghettos overnight. If this is issued and the suburbs know that this is the case, all those little wayward, crazy psychological people in their rooms in the suburbs are going to realize, I'm going to get 20 years if I go and do a mass shooting. If I do a mass shooting, I'm going to get 20 years. It would change this crime psychological of the suburbs where the mass shooters usually are. Now let's define mass shootings. Mass shootings is when more than 4 people are shot at one time. That's a mass shooting at minimum. After 4 shootings, 4 people being shot, that's considered a mass shooting. And they're not only happening from people that's from the suburbs. It's happening also from people that's in between and people from the ghetto too. But it's more of I would say on average, it's more of a suburban problem. Wayward people that's mad at the world, or that have these world views that are as if they've been wronged, or they're on the outside or things like that. They are the ones that go and shoot and kill more than 4 people. And while they're thinking about it, it's nothing to stop them as far as severe punishment, because you don't have any severe punishment in America. That's a 7-hour. You don't have any severe punishment here. You don't. On the average, for the average shooter, that's our foundation, what we're talking about tonight. The average shooter, the person that shoots, the person that kills with guns, you do not have severe punishment. You don't have it. And so how do you think that affects the crime psychological? Well, it doesn't. It doesn't stop them. With my perspective of 20 years plus, this will affect the most hardened criminals in their minds and in their psychological makeup. If you know, I don't care how crazy you are, if you know you're going to get 20 years, 2 decades of your life gone with no chance of parole, I guarantee you, I don't care how crazy you are, I guarantee you won't do it. We'll get rid of more than half of the delinquents, the perpetrators, the fakes, the copycats, the bitter people. Oh, you'll do something else. You might kill yourself, but you won't kill nobody else. See, this is the only way. You're not going to change this country. Look at the state that it's in now. It's to the point where parents are killing their own children. Parents, right here in New York. In the Bronx, a woman killed her 2 children. The dad of this woman, a black woman too. The dad said he talked to her and everything was okay. If I'm not mistaken, the same parent said she thought her kids had demons or something. Now see right there. Now you could say psychological paranoid. You could say whatever you I mean, you could say schizophrenic paranoid. I don't know. All I know is she needs to get off the streets. She's done. She killed her kids. She's done. She ain't gonna be raising no kids. Don't want her to have any. Don't care what her well-being is. Quite frankly, this is how you have to start thinking. If someone doesn't care about the well-being of people, why should you care about their well-being? It's part of the punishment. You a Ned Flanders type of people. Okay. Well, we don't want to punish them too much. Why? They killed innocent people. Those people are not coming back. That woman killed her own kids. This is the state of your country, whether you accept it or not. How much lately have people been killing their kids? How lately have this been happening? People just killing their kids. You have to realize the state of your country. You don't want to accept it, but being a realist, part of being a realist, everyone that follows me have to be a realist. You can't be fake. You can't be a denier of reality. You can't be that way. The new average happenings or occurrences in your country is that the American parents are killing their own children. Go look it up. Woman kills her own children. The worst case I ever seen was the man that killed his child on Father's Day. On Father's Day. The parent day. He killed his own child on Parents' Day, bro. On Parents' Day. And guess what? He killed him because the American father killed his child because he ate a piece of cheesecake. A piece of cheesecake. He sent his own child to the grave for a piece of cheesecake. That's the most disgusting thing I've ever heard. Your own child, man. If anything, you should have felt more like a father that day. Maybe another day you might have been a little frustrated at it, maybe. At best. A little disappointed. Right? Better way to say it. A little disappointed. But on that day, you should have felt like a father giving to your child. That's a 7 hour. You should have felt like a father giving to your son. It's Father's Day. I'll let you have it, son. I'll sacrifice it for you. I love you so much. He killed him. He killed him on Father's Day, man. You can't make this up. Right here in America, I know you want to think it's some strange place, some other place, some wooded place, some wooded area. No. I think that was a suburb. I think that was a metropolis where that happened. Not sure which one. Pretty sure it was a metropolis. Hey, I'm Pacific, man. Listen, I'm Pacific. You can call it racist. I'm Pacific. And he was a black man, which is totally out of character for black culture. In both of those cases I just named, the black woman from the Bronx, she killed her kids, right? That's out of culture for black people, right? This is a black father killed his kid on Father's Day. That's unheard of. I'm trying to show you the state of your country. Now, what do you think that father should get? Now, we talked about the mother. What do you think the father should get? When he had the mind to think to kill the kid on Father's Day, right? Like he just sits up like a champ. Everybody just cater to me today. And I kill you if you eat my cheesecake because it's my day. You better cater to me. It's Father's Day. That's the American mentality of some of these fathers out here. Oh, yeah. Cater to me. It's Father's Day. My program on. You better get out of my way. You know I'm supposed to go to the beach today. Oh, you don't know nobody who act like that? Oh, okay. What you think this man's supposed to get? We ain't gonna call him no father because he ain't no father. Literally, he's not anymore. How much time do we give him? I don't care if he's black. I don't care if he's straight from Africa. How much time we supposed to give him? But see, you have sympathy because he's black. Well, he's sick. I don't care if he's sick. He had enough mind to know it was Father's Day and kill his kid over a piece of cheesecake. Over a piece of cheesecake. And that child is still in the grave right now, by the way. For people who have a short mind, a thinking span or thought span, that child is still in the grave right now as I speak. Because he ate a piece of cheesecake from his father's house right here in America. How much time do you think that parent should get? Huh? How much time? I'm pointing out the monsters why you think everybody else is one. That ain't a monster. Even if he beat the child for a piece of cheesecake, I would think he's a monster. A child shouldn't get a whooping because he ate a piece of cheesecake, man. On Father's Day, you should be sacrificing. You should be glad for your child to have the last piece of cheesecake. It proves how much of a father you are. So again, how much time do you think this man should get? Another question, how much time do you think America is going to give him? You're too sympathetic to the wrong people. That's how I see it. And it is the reason why crime is festering in your country like maggots eating at a carcass. That's how it is. It's eating away at your society like a maggot would eat at a carcass, moving and throbbing, eating on flesh. How much time do you think this man should get? 20 years. He's an animal. Why do you look? His child is dead. His job is gone. He don't got no job no more. Do you want to work with a man that killed his kid like that? You want to work side by side with a guy like that? So he's not going to be wanted in the workforce. Nobody want to work with nobody like that. I would feel nauseous every day. I would feel like I'm nauseous every day working with a man that killed his kid like that over a piece of cheesecake. I will feel nauseous working with him. So nobody wants him in the workforce. So what's going to happen? Pretty sure his family don't want nothing to do with him. So he's going to serve no purpose out here in the public. While you're trying to get him back out here quick as possible. That's a 7. You trying to get him, you trying to see how you can get him back out here already before he even gets sentenced. You trying to see how you can get him back out here. And I'm not going to say because he's black, but some people feel like that. That's all they see. Let's get the black guy off. Let's get the black guy off. And vice versa. Some people, let's get the white guy off. Let's get the white guy off. And so on and so on and so on. And you're trying to get people off instead of putting them down and sitting them down for a while. For a long time. In this case, $20 years is what this man should get. Bottom line, 20 years. 20 years. So 5 years is good enough for him killing his kid over cheesecake? Let's go through the numbers. So 5 years is good enough for him to come out back on the streets after killing his child for a piece of cheesecake. That's good enough for you. You'll feel satisfied that justice is served, right? No. 8 years for killing his child for a piece of cheesecake. A child that didn't get a chance to live life, experience life for nothing, dies while he's thinking about it's Father's Day for my dad. He was aware of it, and he died thinking, having a mindset in his mind that it's Father's Day. He was aware of the day, so the day was in his mind when he died. You think 8 years is good enough for that? You think 12 years is good enough? 12 years is good enough for a life that's never coming back, that's in the graveyard right now? That's good enough for you. You'll be satisfied. Or is 20 years good enough, like I said? You see the satisfaction that you get from 20 years. 20 years being issued out to these people that killed their kids on, a man that killed his kid on Father's Day because he ate a piece of cheesecake. That's like a cartoon. Something you hear in a cartoon or something. 20 years sounds pretty satisfying, doesn't it? It's pretty satisfying to the public. It's pretty satisfying to those who are of good, just discretion. 20 years is what you need. You need to lose 2 decades of your life and be glad that you're still alive after you killed your own son. Now, that's what I'm saying. It's a perfect example. The man that pushed that woman, that black man that pushed that Asian woman on the train. See, it's black people that's starting to do crimes like this, the crazy stuff that you would never see black people usually do. That means to me it's time for the law system to get a makeover, because the people have changed. It's no more about, well, black people don't do stuff like that. You can't say that no more. You can't say it no more. You can no longer say, well, that's a white boy crime right there. That's what white guys do. Yeah, that sounds like, I don't even know the color, but that sounds like a white guy. If I told you this in the 90s, that a dad killed his son on Father's Day for a piece of cheesecake, you would say, I bet that was a white guy. I bet you would. I bet you would say, that's a white guy. I bet he did. I bet you that was a white guy. How much you want to bet? It wasn't a white guy. It was a black dude. Black dude killed his own kid, man, for a piece of cheesecake. Times have changed, guys. Times have changed, whether you like it or not. When you see a black man, right, kill his son for a piece of cheesecake on Father's Day, not on Mother's Day, where he's not being honored, on the day where he's being honored. And what I suspect is he was so disgustingly arrogant and egotistical on a disgusting pedestal that he thought, oh, it's my day. How dare you eat my cheesecake on Father's Day? I feel like that was part of it. After all, it was a day of honoring him. So he either was going to go to one extreme or the other, of sacrifice, like I said, or it's my day. How dare you? It's ridiculous. And the only way it's going to change is if parents like that and people like that in your country push people's own train, a black woman killing her own children out in the Bronx. The only way that stuff is going to change is that if you issue out a new punishment, 20 years plus for senseless, horrendous crimes. Horrific, senseless crimes gets 20 years. That's the new standard. If you do not change, I'm telling you, if you do not change this law system and give it a makeover, a facelift, if you don't do this, people are going psychologically, subconsciously, listen to this part, subconsciously, people are going to feel that basically nothing really is going to happen. They're going to do a little time, but that's okay. There has to be more severe punishments to affect the crime psychological of your American culture and community. These kids out here, 19 and 20, I call them kids because I'm 41 years old. They young enough to be my sons. A 19-year-old, I could have had a 19-year-old. I could have a 21-year-old right now. That's when my enemies don't realize how old I am. I'm a fully grown man. Unlike many of my enemies, they have not progressed mentally. These 19 and 20-year-old kids out here, shooting and killing and wind up killing babies. One case I heard, the infant was in the car, shot and killed. You go on World Star, you see where drive-by shootings, they stop and park, literally, or I guess have their foot on the brake, and they let release at least about 20 to 30 rounds. And kids are killed. Now, if you don't give more severe punishment, kids are going to be trigger happy, for crying out loud. For a lack of a better term. They're going to be trigger happy. Trigger happy out here. Ready to do it because they listen to rap music and ready to do it. But if you put out a new law that gives people 20 years for senseless crimes, I guarantee I don't care how much weed they smoke, and I don't care how much rap they listen to. I don't care how much drill rap they listen to, trap music they listen to. I guarantee you they'll be sitting up there thinking about them 20 years with no chance of parole. It ain't no way you gonna change these cities like Chicago, Los Angeles, New York. You're not gonna change them. You're not gonna change these places that they have generations of criminals and generations of criminals. You're not gonna change it with the same old game. Can't you see that? You are doing nothing to do as far as increasing the punishment. There is no laws that's doing that. You're ignoring all your monsters, and you're playing with the wrong man when you're playing with me. I'm telling you right now. Listen, you ignoring your monsters is going to bring such real bad karma on you. Real bad. Listen, man, listen. Your law system is a joke. That's the conclusion. That's the conclusion. Your law system is a joke. You got people that kill their own children on Father's Day. Man kills his own child on Father. I guarantee you he didn't get 20 years. How much you want to put on it? I bet he didn't get 20 years with no chance of parole. If you don't start doing this and realize this, the foundational reason, people say, well, why 20 years? Because if you don't do that, crime culture is going to thrive and strive until it's going to become more unbelievable, the things that happen in your community. That's why you have gang stalking. The whole reason you have gang stalking is because, in my opinion, you have low sentences for stalking. Stalking is a crime. Extreme stalking should be a crime as well. And people say, well, how do we stop it? When your secret forces know, secret services know, and National Guard know that individuals are doing it, you start freezing monies. You treat them like terrorists. They're domestic terrorists. And you treat them like domestic terrorists. Okay, if they're terrorizing your community, what does that say about your courage? What does that say about your bravery to sit back and say you can't do nothing about it? What does that say about you? Because in my opinion, it's a form of extreme stalking, and it's domestic terrorism. For you to sit back and act like you can do nothing, I think this why you feel this way is because it's a white problem. It didn't come from the hood. What I've learned about America is if it's something white, if it has a white foundation, a white American foundation, you don't seem too concerned about it. It takes you years to get around to it for some reason. For example, you have militias. You have all kind of militias come out the woodworks. Let black militias start. In fact, look at the NFAC black militia. The NFAC, you can look it up in your spare time. The NFAC is a black militia that Jam Master Jay started. They already own him. They done locked him up. Meanwhile, we find that I think it was January 6th, if it was that incident or some other incident, we find that we got multiple influential white militias all throughout this country. You got what, Proud Boys? No one knew about them. Donald Trump talking about stand down and stand by, like as if he's their commander in chief. Like as if they would listen to him. You got the Boogaloo, that was the other one. And they got flair to, they got different colors and things they wear. They got a flair to their situation. And because I think it's white militias are usually militias in general is a white thing, because black people don't have the money, they don't have the place to shoot the guns. Militias train with real shootings and targets. They run, they exercise, they go out in fields and shoot. So white folks more than not have that kind of opportunity to go out and start militias and go shoot in fields and everything. Black people don't have that kind of opportunity. If they did, they would. So, but because it's a white American issue, just like gang stalking, you're getting to it, but you're kind of not. That's what now let's put it like this. If it was a black cultural thing for gang stalking, if it was a cultural thing that came from black people, you would have been stopped that. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you say. I know if black people were riding around in cars, gang stalking, going throughout the community like hyenas, you would have been put to stop to that. So I feel like it's a race problem. And I feel like it's a race war. Well, if it's influenced by white Americans. It's white entitlement that got it going, got the ball rolling. White entitlement is the vehicle for that keeps it going. Well, it ain't black entitlement that keeps it going. We're getting to the bottom of the matter. It's white entitlement, whether it be police involved, community involved. We're aware of all of that. Freemason police. We're aware of all of that. I'm aware of all of it. And look at your country. Look at your country. I know you think it's a cat and mouse situation, but you dead in the traps, ain't you? Huh? You a dead cat or a rat? Which one you want to be? It can't be a cat and mouse situation because I ain't no cat or no mouse. Yeah, y'all got a cartoon version of what's going on. That's what's wrong with you now. I am a lion. I proved it. I proved that I'm a lion. What are you? What do you claim to be? You're not lions. I'm winning. I'm winning either way it goes. Look, your country is on fire. I'm winning either way it goes. And that's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. I'm winning either way it goes. So it's not much time left. You know, why it is, you need to ask why your country has not given out more stronger punishments for the evil that they're doing. Whether it be gang stalking, why haven't they sophisticated their law system to handle it? Listen, if you don't handle it, we gonna handle it. I'm part of the kingdom of God. If you don't handle it, we are going to handle it. And you're not going to like how we handle it, because it's going to be a massive amount of destruction issued by the kingdom of God, coming from God himself. Okay, you think God is a cartoon? If you want to, look at your country. Look at your country. That's the result of gang stalking. I know they thought they got away with it, but they're not paying attention to their country. Yeah, it's way darker than when you first started playing with me, isn't it? It's way darker, isn't it? Just now realizing that. It's way darker than when you first started, buddy. Some would say strangely darker. It's not like, oh, okay, America was this just gradually happened. It was like almost a night and day experience. Where you were just good, the country was just good. Like in 2017, 2015, 2014. 2014, the country was pretty good, right? Up to date, look at the country now. Less than 10 years. You didn't get away with anything. You thought you did. See, we don't need, see, the kingdom of God, the difference is between us, we don't need the law system to do anything. It's for your whole country benefit, so that we don't tear it all apart. If we put the law in God's hands, God is not going to say any, many, mighty, mo. You want God to be specific. You want us to be specific and say it's them, and you want it to work like that. No, it's not going to work like that. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why it's not going to work like we are with God, like we're going to be specific, because your American community also got involved in gang stalking. That's why. They also got involved. And I have received intelligence that the American community also got involved with it. So therefore, it makes the whole community liable. I'm explaining it all. So with that being said, we already have the legality to go ahead and punish everybody by spiritual means. So if you don't get on top of it, then we'll go ahead with the technicality and the legality that everybody was involved and handle it like that. You're not dealing with an idiot. You're dealing with a person that, listen, I'm a general. I can mastermind this situation. Okay? And it won't be nothing you can do about it, because I don't have any tangible operations. I don't have anything tangible that you can say, well, he's going to do this. He's planning on doing this. He's planning on attacking this building, or he's planning on attacking these people. It's nothing in my plans of the such. So I win. We sit back and we watch and we let God destroy people that you can't get a hold of. People that you somehow can't get control of and you don't know what to do. Okay. Then what we're going to do is just hold everybody liable. I think that's right anyway. And that explains why your whole environment looks like it does. Look, the innocent people that are angry, I'm telling you what you should be doing. You should be trying your best to get down to the bottom of the weird little hyena-like people that want to play with your community. You should want them burned. I mean, at the end of the day. Because I don't care if it was half a person. I don't care if it's one person or half a person. If there's a whole group of people, that is the problem. That is the problem. Bottom line. And it's not going to go away. And you can't be sure if they're going to do it again. You don't know when they're going to do it again. You don't know. How you know? So that being said, you have to burn the problem. And my idea of burning the problem, first and foremost, is giving them 20 years. Giving them 20 years for extreme gang stalking. But you're too bitter probably to do that. So what's going to happen is we're going to let God continue to destroy. You know what I mean when I say let God. I am going to basically accept what God is doing. I'm going to accept what God is doing. I'm going to go with that, I'm going to go with what he wants to do. Because you think you're having fun. I feel like they're having too much fun, and it's time to take it up a notch and wipe the smile, wipe that goofy smile off their faces. That's what I think. I think it's time to wipe that goofy smile off the faces of these gang stalkers and these crazy people that go out pushing people on trains. They're all in the same category, by the way. The gang stalkers, the people that push people on trains, I don't see any difference. It's tomato, tomato. It's tomato, tomato to me. That's a 7 hour. It's tomato, tomato to me. Gang stalkers, people pushing people on trains. It's the same kind of little weird clown-like energy. It is. And so what I want to do is show you where your country ain't even worth respecting. They don't even have, when people kill their own kids, when gangbangers shoot up houses and kill innocent kids, when they do that, how much time do you think they get? How much time do you think they get? Huh? How much time do you think they get? I think they get probably 4 to 10 years, maybe. Here's the thing, with the chance of parole. That's what I'm looking at. With the chance of parole takes away, a lot of the public don't see how that's kind of it's a Jedi mind trick. Because in all actuality, they're not doing a great enough of a sentence for the crime that they've done. Well, if you're getting out on parole, you didn't really stay in prison long enough. I do not agree with that. I feel like if you do horrendous enough of a crime, you're going to prison without a chance. You should be going to prison without a chance of parole. You should be doing that amount of time. That's what you should be doing. And if you don't do this amount of time, then justice hasn't really been served. If you do 4 years for killing somebody, 8 years, justice hasn't been served. Ask the parents of the people that lost their child. Is 4 years and 8 years, 10 years good enough for taking their family member? Ask them, is that good enough? 20 years, ask them, is that good enough? Yeah, that's good. That's a healthy charge. That's a hearty charge there. That's a hearty punishment. And they're worthy of that. That's what you got to be convinced of. They are worthy of that. Yes, they are. You push somebody on a train, you are a loser. You are a loser. We need to get you out the way. You have no purpose here. And you should get 20 years. Now, you should not get no 5 years for pushing someone onto the train. It's an act that didn't have to happen. Right? It's an act that did not have to happen. Y'all have to have heavier laws in order for them to be affected in their crime psychological makeup. I'm telling you, because if you don't do this, it's not even going to register in the mind of criminals and losers. Not even worthy to be called a criminal, a loser that does a crime. They're not criminals. Real criminals don't get caught. Let's understand that. Someone that pushes someone on the train pretty much know they're going to get caught. I mean, You got surveillance everywhere. Literally, you got people's eyes. They're going to get you. If you're a real criminal, you should know if you push somebody on a train, they're going to get you. They're going to get you. So it's not a criminal. We're not talking about thugs here. We're talking about what I call zombies, the new generation, and they're old and young people. They're zombies. They're not thugs and gangsters. They're zombies that go out here and do reckless crimes and shoot innocent people. And I'm glad I said this part so you can understand why 20 years has to be issued out. Because they're zombies. They're not thugs that are misunderstood. They're not gangsters that are misunderstood. They don't represent that generation. That's the generation I came from. Thugs and gangsters misunderstood by society, fall into the wrong habits and situations, and now you in crime. You grew up with people around you that became criminals, and now you're a criminal. That's the old school. Now you have people that just not even thugs, not even from the streets. They see all this stuff on YouTube. See, we didn't have that opportunity to see all this stuff on YouTube and all this stuff on social platforms, and they want to be a part of that because that's what's implied among their peers the most is gangsters and thugs. That those images or those positions are insinuated way more than our generation. It was insinuated in my generation because I was a teenager in the 90s, which was the best time to be a teenager in America. But even being a teenager from the 90s, me being a teenager in the 90s, we didn't have like such a super emphasis on being like a shooter and a straight shooter or a killer like it is now, and through the music and everything, more than anything. We had it there, but most people were into just hip hop for the sake of hip hop. Rap, they like rap music. Now these days, most people that listen to rap are kind of violent. That goes without saying. Most people that listen to violent music is violent. See, back in the day, you would have some kids that just like the beat. They like the appeal of the music per se. These days, most of the kids and most of the people that listen to audiences, most of them are violent. That's why you have stuff that happens at the concert. That's a 7th hour. That's why you have stuff that happen at the concert because these people are violent, just as violent as the rapper, if not more violent. They throwing stuff at them. They supposed to be a fan. They supposed to be fans. How did that happen? And so now you have what for educated African Americans. Let me help you understand something. You're not helping your own people. It's one thing to be black. It's one thing to be African. When you're black, you're a shell of what you're supposed to be. You just have the complexion of an African person. You're not African. When you're African, you have a value system that preserves African life and culture and everything that comes with being African. That's African. When you're African, your loyalty is to the Martin Luther Kings and the Malcolm X and their perspective in the first generations of Africans here. That's when you're African. You don't have to be loyal to gangbangers. You don't have to be loyal to senseless thugs and gangsters that have no sense of reality. And that's what you have to understand. Well, those are my people. You might want to take another look. Times have changed. Times have changed, and they're no more different than white people. They'll kill you. They'll sell you out. They don't care nothing about you. And if you don't realize that, you'll be sitting back talking about those my people. They ain't your people no more. Times have changed. You got better chances with somebody else. You got better chances with starting a revolution with a whole another ethnicity almost now. You see where you at? I'm just being 100 with you. Because at the end of the day, it's a lot of black people out here that are the problem. Well, they're killing each other and killing their own kids. And killing your kids. Okay? That's what the educated African America needs to know when going into battle and going into the culture and proceeding into the environments of America. You have people that are black and you have people that are African. The people that are black are just the complexion of Africans. They have, if you check their brains, if you check their hearts and their souls, they have no African value system at all. They do not value African life at all. All they do is value themselves and make sure they're not mistreated. That's a 7 owl. Yeah, you can't call them a nigga, but they ain't worrying about the next man being called a nigga. They worried about them. Check and see if they worried about somebody else being called a nigga. Check and see if they worried about other white people mistreating other black people. See if they worried about that. They not worried about that. They only worried about themselves, which to me is not even really, it's not really even being a person that stands for black people. It's self-preservation. Yeah, nobody better not call me a nigga because you're insulted. You're not even worried about the African part. It's the fact that they're insulting you. That's to the forefront of their minds. So you need to know that. You should realize this will be part of the last days. You think the African community is going to be all together in the last days? That's part of the fall of this country, is that even the Africans are killing each other. That's why everybody knew it was the last days when they started doing that. Well, for slaves, people that are descendants of slaves to start killing each other is the end. That's not the end of you. What else needs to happen in a country like this, where whites have been brutalizing black people all this time? Now we come all the way forward. Now we come all the way up into the present time where they're killing each other and killing their own kids. Listen, man, I'm pretty sure in slavery times there were mentally sick people because mental sickness doesn't discriminate. But I guarantee you, no matter how mentally sick a slave was, not considering all the PTSD they received from the white man and the white slave master, I guarantee you through all of that, they wouldn't have killed their own kids. How much you want to put on that? So you can't use mental sickness. We can go back to the slave times. So everybody there in the slave times was healthy-minded with all the torture they was going through. Consider that. With all the torture they was going through, you think they were all mentally sound? They probably wasn't, for good reasons. For good reasons. But I guarantee you, they wouldn't have did nothing to their own kids. And you sit up and listen to these white people and let them influence you. Well, yeah, that probably was because they were sick. Who cares? I can show you through other places in history where I'm pretty sure people were sick too, based on their circumstances. And they would still take care of their children. That's what I'm trying to show you. It's no excuse. You can't even use mental sickness as excuse because you can look through more harsher times where you know the mind was affected and people still did for their kids and protected their kids. People have become disgustingly selfish and disgustingly evil and cruel. And you're trying to say it's mental sickness. It's not mental sickness all the time. Half of this stuff is people, America having had made the whole culture, making everyone think they're superstars. Everyone here think they're some type of star, but no talents. You have nothing to offer as far as entertainment, but you're a star. And this is how they make you feel through commercialism to make you buy all these clothes, all this apparel, all these hair products. They want to make you feel like you're a superstar. Like, yeah, you should get that. You're a superstar. You should get that. You're worth it. And so now you start. They done gassed the American businesses have gassed the whole culture to make you feel like you some star. Look how the people act. Look how your girlfriend act. Like she's a diva. Like she's Patti LaBelle or something. Your girlfriend act like she Patti LaBelle. Oh, she don't. She sit over and have an attitude like she Patti LaBelle. And your boyfriend act like Ike Turner. well, you can't hardly say nothing to him from him hitting you in the face. Your boyfriend act like you say he a thug. I say he act like he Ike Turner. You can't go nowhere without him. You can't even go nowhere without him. He beating your face in and you ain't telling nobody. And it all comes from the hip hop making him feel like he a thug, he above who these people are. And you have created, and you have created this type of mentality, and this explains why the evil cannot leave your community, because you have created literally monsters, especially among the men, because they all think that they're superstars and thugs. That's worse. To the point where now they're shooting people over missing fries, man. I mean, even if you feel like it's done on purpose, you know, you might come show a little attitude because they're unprofessional. I mean, you get paid to be professional. You don't get paid to be unprofessional. So you shouldn't get paid if you are unprofessional. If you come on a job and you're not doing the job, why should you be paid? Oh, because you're just there and we're sympathetic for you? No. You should be getting paid because you're a professional at the job that you're getting paid to do. Now, I agree with that. I agree with being professional, right? So you can call people on being unprofessional. Listen, it ain't hard. How hard is it for you to remember to put fries in a bag? I don't care how long you do it. You need to take a break if you can't remember to put fries in a bag, bro. You need a break. You need to clock out and take a break. You can't remember putting fries in a bag. Come on, man. Yeah, I'm gonna do a video on that. Holding people in the work environments, holding these businesses to professionalism. This is why people don't even want to work anymore, because half of the managers are not professional, half of the co-workers are not professional. But shooting somebody, man, over missing fries, you think you Michael Jackson. You think you Prince. Or up to date, you think you Jay-Z, don't you? Or you think you Bone Thugs. Who you think you are, bro? Or you Pac. Or you Tupac, huh? Half of these people really have this complex and they don't live up to it. It's one thing to say, okay, you Pac, I can kind of see it because you spiritual, you're spiritual, you're street guy, all of this. Nah, they taking half of it. They take these guys that want to be Tupac. You only took the gangster part and you ain't even mastered that properly. It's just like I heard somebody say, if you want to be like Tupac, then I think Snoop said it, then be the whole man. The whole man was a spiritual man and was fighting against inequalities in the community. But at the same time, checking everything. Just like Tupac told the Mexicans, hey, you can roll with us. Go look at him when he was in the shooting range. He told the Mexican community, yeah, we're doing this over here basically, and you can come with us. That's how he put it. In other words, you play by our rules. But they still haven't done that, have they? See, they're going to be a community. This is kind of off subject, but they're going to be a community, but it's important. They're going to be a community that looks and see everything happen, and then at the last minute, they're going to try to choose sides, and it's going to be too late. Look, we don't see you when people are shot down. We don't see you when people are shot down by the police. We don't see you when there are injustices in our community. If you was there, we would see your presence. You got too many people. So how come we don't see you then? Because you're the type of community that feels like, we're going to mind our business and not be involved. That works personally, and I understand that, but it doesn't work collectively. That's a 7 hour. It doesn't work collectively. You're supposed to mind your business individually speaking. You're supposed to be to your family individually speaking, but collectively, we don't never see you pull up. So then guess what happens? When the final war breaks out, you're going to be just in the middle. That's what's going to happen, because black people going to look at you like, hey, I don't understand why you really here, because we ain't really see you fight none of the wars with us. You fought no wars. And you can talk about the people that's in the military that's Mexican. You can talk about these individuals, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. Don't try to play stupid. You're not collectively here. You're minding your business. I get it. But the only problem with that is you're going to wake up and open your door one day and World War III is going to be out there and you're going to say, what happened to America? Because you wasn't involved. And you can't say, wait. I got a family. They got dreams. No one cares. No one cares. Do you think World War III cares about your dreams? You think World War III cares about the dreams of your children? You think World War III cares about that you have a family to make? Look, war does not care about anything. War does not care about dreams or aspirations of your children or you. And that's why you have to prevent it. Not coming in on it and thinking you and not knowing all the information like you did with me. You don't know what's going on with me. You don't know what really happened. All you know is you hear me talking about this, right? That's how you know you're losing. Because all you hear is this. That's all you hear. In all actuality. That means you lost, buddy. Hey, listen, man. Everybody's going by facts and reality. I can come pick your brain apart and pick your life apart, and I'm pretty sure I'll find something. That's not what we're talking about, picking people apart. Is there anything here? Is there any crimes here? Then you lose, bro. Simple as that. Listen, man, we ain't trying to hear nothing else. We play by the real rules. We don't play by none of that Mickey Mouse foolishness. Okay? That's Mickey Mouse foolishness. Tom and Jerry foolishness. Winnie the Pooh foolishness. Whatever, however you want to look at it. It's cartoonish. We don't have time for it. Okay? And so for people that don't know, just for the record, I got respect with East LA Mexicans. So for just in case you think I'm new to being around Mexicans, that's foolishness. You just didn't know it because I didn't feel the need to really tell you like that. I didn't sing songs about it because I didn't feel the need to do that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't blow trumpets and talk about it because I didn't feel the need to do that. But yeah, I people know me from East LA right now. Right now, buddy. And that's the difference between me and someone else. I can't speak for anyone else. Some black people don't get to go to East LA, and they live in Los Angeles. They're a native of Los Angeles, and they've never been to East LA. I got respect, bro. That's the difference. So when I speak on this like I do, don't try to use the race card when I tell you I got respect at East LA. I don't care what you hear come out my mouth. I don't care what you hear come out my mouth. Am I going to hit below the belt? And I'm going to do a video on that. I might say some of the worst things. That's what happens in war. We hit below the belt. Or if you ain't know, listen, you ain't no real warrior if you ain't hit below the belt. You ain't no real warrior if you ain't hit below the belt. I'm not saying it's right. But at the end of the day, a real man, you see him snap back and he comes back to real values and morals. That's a 7 hour. Oh, you see how black people treat each other? We call each other niggas all the time. Oh, you think it means the good part? Not all the time. You think it's the cool version of nigga we say all the time? Not all the time. Let alone calling you out your name. We do it to ourselves. We hit below the belt. That's what it's called. Just like in boxing. It comes from that. I get that term from boxing. You hit below the belt. In boxing, you do not supposed to hit below the belt of a person. You don't hit them in their groins, in their legs, or any of that. But in war, in real war, when people are already in your lane and playing with you, You gonna hit below the belt. You might. And you have to know the difference between, and I'm gonna do a video on this too, hitting below the belt and real racism and hate. Because in war, you're gonna hit below the belt. I don't care what you say. If people playing with you long enough, you hitting below the belt, bro. And you could either be, if a real warrior is gonna confirm that. Oh, okay. Go talk to some real warriors. That went through real wars with different ethnicities and ask them did they hit below the belt. In their minds or in their words. Ask them. I bet you they did. And I ain't even offended because I know the difference. I'm offended when you playing with me and you don't realize my rank. You don't realize who I am. I'm more offended at that than anything. Yes. Yeah, you shouldn't even be here. That's what I'm saying. When I got respect from East LA Mexicans, and half of you want to still go to East LA and you ain't never been there. Matter of fact, your parents want to go to East LA. That's a dream of your parents. Yeah. That's a dream of your parents to go to East LA. Haven't been there, have they? I have. With respect. With respect. So that speaks. You ask anybody. Ask anybody what East LA is to America. You can ask the mob. Go ask the Mexican mafia. What is East LA? That's how confident I am. Go ask them what East LA is. One of the most prominent Mexican neighborhoods in the whole American community, buddy. That's why I got respect from. Right there. I don't need to prove anything to anybody else after that. Yeah, that's where I'm at. That's why I walk around talking how I do. Now, why you walk around talking like you do, I don't know why. I'm puzzled at it. I'm puzzled at how you walking around like you on my level. That's what I told you. I'm more offended that you don't realize my rank versus yours. You shouldn't even be here. It ain't even fair for me to fight you. That's why you losing. It ain't even fair. I don't get nothing from it. If I don't get nothing from it, I shouldn't be fighting you. What I get from it? I don't get nothing from it. You get everything for fighting me. I don't get nothing for fighting you. So let's look at it like this. If you had a boxing match, you had Mike Tyson, right? He fights some nobody that nobody knows, right? He gets nothing out of it. He don't get no respect from it. He don't get no money from it. How they gonna put up money for this nobody? Who's gonna put up money for the nobody? Mike Tyson couldn't even get no money out of fighting this guy. But if you fight somebody that is truly skillful and truly known and truly, nationwide or international, now boom, you get spoils of war. But where are the spoils of war? I don't listen, man. Listen. I don't get nothing from it, man. That's why I'm not interested. And the people that's out here that I done beat 1,000,000 times, I'm not interested in them. Because see, I done beat them so many times, they done studied me over and over again. Now you ain't gonna win, but you've studied me so much. If you did happen to win, it's based on you just studying. Not that you have skills, but that you've studied so much. That's all it is. But you still ain't gonna get the win based off that. Yeah, I done beat the secret societies, Freemasons, and the Illuminati. I done beat them more times than I can count. Listen, it's a redundant situation. I don't even need to do it. I don't get nothing from it anymore. I don't find it exciting. It's nothing to it for me. It's a lost cause. I've gotten my respect. People already seen it. They already know. They know the history. It's over with. It's like people playing at the Super Bowl. The lights done went out to the stadium. The crowd is gone. And they still running around in the dark. That's exactly how it is. I'm gone. Everybody's gone. They still running around on the turf. That's how it is. That's exactly how it is. Literally, they out there in the dark now. That part, they out there in the dark now. Okay, so listen, man, listen. It's a lost cause, bro. You done studied me so much, it ain't even no war. It's not even a war. You are studying people. You are studying me. That's all you're doing. I won. Now you got the Taylor Swift mouth. Remember when Kanye took the mic from her? She had the mouth open. You got the Taylor Swift mouth where your mouth is open like you in shock. You still can't believe you lost, can you? Man, look, man. You can't play with no kingdom of God, man. We worse than the mob. They ain't tell you that. They ain't tell you we worse than the mafia. We worse than any mafia you got. We worse than all of that. Well, have they ever caused something like COVID-19 to come? That's a plague from the kingdom of God. That's from God. Oh, I know your government didn't tell you that. How can you explain all of this strange stuff happening all of a sudden? You can't explain it. That's from God, man. Hey, the mob can't do that. I don't care what mob it is. I don't care what ethnicity the mob is from, what country the mob is from. None of them can do that. Only God can take the glory for that. That's the kingdom of God. That's what I'm saying. You better tell these amateurs what they playing with. Because no emissaries, no spies, no hitmen, none of that can work. They can't do that. If it's the master of skills, let's see them do something. Listen, killing a person doesn't prove you on our level. It's the easy cop-out to try to act in arrogance. It's the easy cop-out in arrogance. Meanwhile, you haven't still proved to be more competent and mighty as we are in war. See, real masters look at the numbers. They look at, okay, you can go kill somebody, but let's look at the levels of mastery that you are on. Let's look at that. Let's look at all the stuff I've weathered from all the stuff you've been doing in this building, with all these people in this building, in this neighborhood, in this city. Let's look at all the stuff you've been doing. All in these other cities as well. Let's look at all of that. And you got COVID-19, and you still losing, and your leadership in your country is incompetent. All of it is incompetent. And here I am winning. That's what I'm saying. And that's what people respect. They don't respect no teenage mentality of you running around and pulling up. Nobody respect that. That's teenagers. Oh, they pulling up. But we manifesting. That's what I'm saying. That's how I know you got that teenager mentality, like you're 16. I used to be 16, but I'm not 16 now. Yeah, you talking about pulling up. Like you 16. Pull up. We gonna pull up. Look at your country. We already done did what we needed to do. If COVID is a means to an end. COVID-19 is a means to an end, and a fool can see that. How you gonna get rid of it? If one person has it, it starts all over again. That's a 7 hour. If one person has it, it starts all over again. That's how we got here in the first place. The case was in what? Washington State? The first case of COVID was in Washington, right? I think in the Seattle area. One person. A handful of people had COVID here, and now you got 1 million deaths. So how are you ever going to get rid of it if it doesn't leave the world? You got people traveling here. You got people that can start it all over. Look at China right now. China had it to where there was no COVID cases. Yeah, you forget about that part. There were none. While you've had them for the past 2 or 3 years. China had no COVID cases. Now they're up to 1 million a day. They're back up to 1 million cases a day. What does that tell you, bro? Look, man, I ain't a rocket scientist, and I don't claim to be the smartest man in the world. I do not claim to be the smartest man in the world. That's not my crown. But I can see writing on the wall. This disease virus can literally start all over again with one person bringing it here. So if America does not, and I need to do another video about this because I've done it before. I've done it before, but I need to progress about it. If America does not clean up the world, you're never going to get rid of it. We're going to see how selfless America really is. Because if you try to clean up your community and we're just going to get ourselves together, if you have that mentality, somebody's going to come here from another country and start it all over again. Am I right or wrong about this? Because you got to remember, everybody's not vaccinated. I know you are, I am, but many people are not, including police, including military, including doctors and people you respect. Famous people you respect. All of them are not vaccinated. So all it takes is one person. I'm just being real. I'm being a realist. All it takes is one person from another country to come back here, couple people, and start it all over again. While you talking about going back to normal, this COVID-19 you have underestimated. It is not going away. It is a means to an end. And then your president that was in office at the time, Donald Trump, he was the president at the time. He did not inform you when it first got here. Y'all should look. I'm gonna be 100. I don't care how y'all take it. If he would have been in another country would have killed that man. If they found out that he had a slow response on COVID and what it became and what it became in America, number one, as far as the cases and deaths, he would be dead, bro. And look, it doesn't stop with this guy. Now y'all investigating his land in Florida. You found out he was he had voting fraud, election fraud or something. It doesn't stop, bro. He would have been dead in another country. I don't care what you say. This is my personal convictions. That's my personal convictions. If he was in another country, he would be dead. He's done too much. He's done too much in power. He's destroyed the credibility of even an election. Everyone's skeptical now of the elections. Just that alone. And the possibility that he incited what happened in January 6th. It's just too much. It's too much of a fiasco. It's too much of a circus. He would be a dead guy in another country. If he was in Iraq, you telling me I'm lying? If he was in Iraq and that happened and they knew it like this in our situation, how it is with this situation, you don't think he'd be dead in Iraq or Iran? You don't think Iraq or Iran would have killed him? Specifically those two nations. You don't think he would be a dead man? If he had held back information on a deadly disease that now wreaked havoc on your community, and he knew about it. Vice President Kamala Harris told you that at the vice presidential debate. That's the first thing that came out of her mouth. If you go watch it, that Donald Trump and them knew about it. Right? If that information was released to the public in Iran or Iraq, he would be dead. Listen, I'm not personalizing. I don't know him personally. Do I look like I know Donald Trump? Kanye West know Donald Trump, but I don't. And you know that I'm right. I'm not threatening nobody's life. I'm telling you the reaction. I'm telling you the facts. If he was in Iran as the president or Iraq, and they told you the vice president had another election, where a vice president like Kamala Harris told the whole community, this is a person that you respect the credibility of. Kamala Harris told you on the vice presidential debate that Donald Trump had an intentional slow response to COVID, and it wreaked havoc in your country to the point where you have it more than everybody else. The community would kill him based off of her words, what she said. Then they did an investigation and found out that he intentionally had a slow response to COVID based on political points. The House committee, the sub-House committee, if I'm saying that right, the sub-House committee did a 46-page report on Donald Trump, and they found out he had an intentional slow response to COVID for political points, as they put it, which means he slowed down his response to create a perfect storm, thinking that COVID was going to be like the swine flu, and he thought he would come in and fix it, and you would reelect him, but it didn't work out that way. It got way out of control. They didn't know what it was. They thought that it would be the equivalent of the mad cow disease, the swine flu. They thought it would be like that, and he would come back, and Donald Trump thought he would come in and fix it, and you would sing his praises. That's what they thought. That explains why he did it for political points. What other explanation is it? You got to remember, election year is when COVID came. Election year is the equivalent of inspection at the White House. For people that worked enough jobs, you worked a job where you have had inspection at your job, right? That is what that is. That is inspection. So why would he have a slow response during inspection time when he could have had a perfect response and made himself look good during the inspection? That's a 7 hour. Because he thought he would wait and fix it and look good during the inspection. And they would say, look what he did. He fixed this disease. Now you see his motives? That was his motives. And and blood is on that man's hands. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you do. Blood is on that man's hands. And that's why evil has not departed from your country. And he got the gall and the balls to still be trying to run for office now. That's how stupid y'all are. This man put you in the position that you in. How you got it more than everybody else? Explain that to me. How do you have COVID more than everybody else? You can't explain it. The reason why there's so many dead people here is because this man knew about it and didn't tell you about it.